So today I'm going to be putting up my gazebo. My gazebo is a Coleman 2.4 square gazebo, and then I'm going to put in an inner tent in it, but the inner tent isn't the right one that matches it. My inner tent is a OzTrail 2.1, and I've tried to set it up before and it didn't work. It lifted the gazebo up off the ground, and so that's no good. So today, since thinking about that, I'm going to try and do it again. So here we go, setting up the gazebo first. So I'm setting this up in the front courtyard of where I live. A good little place to have a practice. But of course, being concrete floor, I can't peg in the gazebo. So anyway, that's all good. Still a learning curve, me putting up gazebos by myself. But I did find this time was a lot easier than when I tried about 4 weeks ago. Yeah, so we're getting there. And I just want to see if I can work this out, because I want to actually go away camping soon, and I want to feel more confident about that this will work before I actually head off. So at this stage, I'm just putting the gazebo up to the first click, the first height. As you can see, I can still stand under it. And the inner tent I'm using is called the OzTrail Freestyle Bush and Beach Tent Inner Kit. And as I said, it's smaller than the gazebo. But I did try and find a 2.4 inner tent to fit, and months and months I've been trying to find one, and I couldn't find one. And then I found this little one online, very cheap. I think it was about $80, and so I bought it hoping it would fit. So we'll see. The first time was a disaster, but after a few more thoughts and having a chat to a couple of people about it, I'm going to try and see if we can get it sorted again. So because I can stand up under the gazebo, I thought I would first try and see if I can set up the inner tent at this height and see how I feel about leaving it at this height. As most campers would know, the lower the gazebo, the better it is for the wind and everything anyway. So I thought, oh well, I'll just give this a go. So the first thing I did was tied the middle of the inner tent up into the middle of the gazebo. And then we'll see how it fits, how it all clips in. You've got clips on each corner. And they all clipped in okay, I found. It was the next step where you had the ties. There's like a Velcro tie on each corner, and they still wouldn't reach to the poles on the gazebo. So I thought, oh well, we'll just improvise, and I grabbed some, I had a couple of bungee ropes and a couple of, what do you call them? Cable ties. And I improvised that way. And just set it up best I can. And we'll see how it looks at the end. So I've finished that as best as I can for now, and I've gone inside the inner tent. I can stand up fine, but it's this bar on the gazebo that's going to be a problem. I can just see myself hitting my head, which I do not like to do. So plan B. Next thing is to take the inner tent out and to raise the gazebo to the full height. So yeah, I found I had to take it off. It was a bit tricky in some areas, and I grabbed a bungee rope and then fitted the bungee rope to the center of the underneath the gazebo, and then you'll see that I hook the center of the inner tent onto the bungee rope, so that it actually pulls down and will go all the way down to the floor. Because like I said, the first time I did that, and I tied it up and put it on its full height, then the floor was about a foot off the ground, the floor of the inner tent, so it didn't work at all. And of course all this is going to look much better once I'm at the campsite and I can peg everything in, can peg the gazebo in, then I can peg the four corners of the inner tent in as well. But I just need to get a bit of a feel for it. So now that the gazebo's at its full height, and then I'm just going around again trying to work out how to attach the inner tent. Now the height's good, the floor's touching the ground now, so the bungee rope in the middle piece has helped. But I found that the pieces that usually clip on to the gazebo, the next bits right up the top, better off, not worrying about them. I had to unclip them actually and leave them off. And I will just make sure I will need like cable ties and bungee ropes, just basically to give all those points a bit of an extension, so that then they can be attached to the pole like I'm doing there with that bit of white rope. And again, mentioning that the four corners will have tent poles in them. Tent poles? No, tent posts. Anyway, whatever you bang your tent in, the corners into the ground with. Tent pegs, yes, them. So I'll have the tent pegs in, and then I'll neaten it all up. There you go, I'm using a cable tie there, and I ended up just attaching the cable tie first, and then those ropes there they're like the ones that, rip and stick. Yeah. So I'm just going around now fiddling it out, but you can see the height is much better. I'm definitely not going to bump my head, and by this time I'm starting to feel like we're getting somewhere, except this pole here, this clip here, I found it very hard to unclip, and it took me a while to work that out. I think I had to go around and take it all down again, except for the middle piece. Yes, I did. But anyway, that's what we do, isn't it? So I won't be sleeping in here when I camp. When I camp, I'll do another video when I have my bed set up in my car. I feel safer in the car, and I'm certainly not into sleeping on the floor these days, so I will sleep in my car. But this will be handy once I work it all out. It doesn't take long to set up a little gazebo. That's why I got the 2.4 size. I could have easily got a 3x3 gazebo and a 3x3 inner tent, but number one, I really don't need all that space, and number two, it's just a bit much for me to put up on my own. So that's why I wanted the small one. I also like the Coleman 2.4 gazebo. I've had one before and they're very strong. So I also like OzTrail, so that's why I got this little inner tent as well. It should be good quality. Okay, so there you go. It's, I'm going to get in there. The other bonus of having a smaller inner tent is that it has more around it. Like the gazebo puts like a little, awning around it. Whereas if I bought an inner tent to go in there, then it would come right out to the edge of the gazebo. So definitely not going to bump my head, even though I'm still ducking. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that, and it'll take a bit of tweaking to get it, perfect. And I'll show you when I set up at the campsite, and I'll show you my bed set up and what I put in there. But this was enough for today, and after today I'm certainly feeling more confident about taking it and setting it up on a campsite. And there we go. So thank you for joining me today while I put up my 2.4 gazebo and my 2.1 inner tent. Happy camping, everyone.